Welcome back, tribe. It's been a minute. Been a little sick, as you could hear, but it's okay because we got some really good ones coming down the pipeline. Today's episode is going to be when she doesn't want to have sex anymore. What happens? How does this start? It's usually something like this. She doesn't want you anymore. Not like before. You remember that feeling when she couldn't keep her hands off of you? When sex wasn't something you had to negotiate like a hostage situation? I think a lot of men do remember a time like that, because now it's a different story. You got the excuses, the headaches, the I'm tired, the way she flinches slightly when you touch her. That moment when going to the bed becomes this weird tension-filled dance of, is tonight the night she'll finally be into it? Probably not, if you're honest. It's like trying to start a car with a dead battery. Lots of hopeful clicking, zero ignition. And you tried everything the relationship experts suggest. Date nights, helping more around the house, couples therapy, romantic gestures, listening better. And sure, maybe you get the occasional duty sex, the kind that makes you feel worse than no sex at all. What the actual fuck happened? Here's the most uncomfortable truth most marriage counselors won't tell you. Attraction isn't negotiable. It's not a choice. It's not something that she can control with her rational mind. And no amount of working on communication will magically make her wet for you again. Let's break down what actually killed her attraction. Not the symptoms, the disease itself. The first brutal truth: you stopped being a challenge. You became completely predictable, always available, always there, always putting her first, always seeking her approval. The guy who will do anything to make her happy except give her space to want you again. You're basically a human golden retriever. Loyal, dependable, and about as sexually exciting as wallpaper. Early in the relationship, you were a complete person with your own life, your own interests, your own boundaries. You weren't checking your phone every 2 minutes hoping she'd text. You had shit going on. That uncertainty, that independence, catnip for attraction, guys. Then you got comfortable, man. You made her your world, your emotional center, your primary hobby, your sole source of validation. You stopped being a man with a mission and became a man whose mission was her. And neediness is attraction kryptonite. You already know this. Full stop. Superman loses his powers, you lose your sex life. Same principle, different cape. And the second truth is this: you're boring now. Not as a human, as a partner. Remember the conversations you used to have? The debates, the dreams you shared? The way you used to challenge her thinking? The passionate opinions you weren't afraid to express? Now you talk about bills, kids' schedules, what's for dinner, and what's wrong with the dishwasher. You've become domestic partners running a small business called your household. Not lovers, not adventurers, and not growth partners. When was the last time you surprised her? Not with flowers either. I'm talking about with your thoughts, with your actions, with direction. When was the last time you were genuinely unpredictable in a positive way? When was the last time you led her somewhere that she didn't expect to go? Think about that, man. Because the third truth is this: you lost your edge, man. Your masculine energy, that thing that created the polarity between you. You now walk on eggshells. You overthink every interaction and hesitate where you once acted with confidence. Your voice even changes when you talk to her. Softer, higher, seeking approval in its tone. You don't make decisions anymore. Not confident ones. Everything is, what do you want to do? What do you want to eat? Is this okay? The mental load of every decision falls on her. That's not a gift. It's a burden for women. In the hard reality, women don't want to be married to their fucking children. They want a partner, a leader, someone who can take the reins sometimes, or, if you're traditional, most of the times. Your constant deference isn't respect, it's abdication. And you've essentially demoted yourself from husband to her oldest, most disappointing child. Women will tell you this all the time. As far as this disappointing child goes, it's the one who somehow still needs help picking out his own clothes but expects to get laid. Here's the fourth truth. You've let yourself go, not just physically, mentally, spiritually, but purposefully as well. Sure, maybe you've gained some weight. That's an easy problem to spot. But the bigger issue, you lost your hunger for life, man. Your ambition, your drive for something beyond the relationship. You don't challenge yourself anymore. You don't take risks. And you don't pursue goals that scared you a little. The fire in your eyes that attracted her in the first place, those are barely embers now. You went from Braveheart to Brave-ish, from a warrior to a guy whose biggest daily battle is with the Wi-Fi router. A man pursuing his purpose with passion is inherently attractive. We all know this. A man whose primary purpose has become keeping his wife from leaving is inherently repellent. Here's your fifth truth. You've stopped being the protector, the solid one, that emotional rock they all ask for. You overshare every fucking insecurity. You process every feeling out loud. You turned her into your emotional dumping ground, your therapist, your mommy. Yes, men have emotions. I understand. Yes, vulnerability can create connection. Yes, but the constant emotional processing kills sexual polarity. There's a difference between authentic vulnerability and emotional incontinence. You cross that line, buddy, and it's unfortunate. And she needs to feel that you can handle yourself, that you're emotionally resilient, that your well-being isn't entirely dependent on her mood or approval, that you can hold space for her emotions without immediately making them about your emotions. This is why you need guy friends, and you should never, ever lose them in a relationship. They're your emotional outlet. They're your checkpoint on how you need to conduct yourself as a man and pick yourself up. They hold you accountable. That's not your wife's job. And when you place that burden on her, the bedroom dries up immediately. You're no longer Superman in her eyes. Sixth truth, guys. You're phoning it in. The courtship never stops, but you stopped courting. Remember how you pursued her? The thought you put into dates? The way you led the interaction? The way you touched her deliberately? Confidently. Not like you were asking for permission or apologizing for wanting her. Do you remember that? Because now you expect sex just to happen automatically, without creating the conditions for attraction, without building that tension, without making her feel pursued and desired rather than just conveniently available. Desire needs space. Connection without space creates comfort, familiarity, security. All wonderful things, but not arousal. Never arousal. That's why I tell you guys all the time, maintain your identity, have strict boundaries, hobbies that you pursue, time spent apart. Always getting better at those things creates the distance you need from each other to keep the attraction going. Not fucking surgically attached at the hip. This is how you kill attraction. Let's be brutally honest about something. She wants to want you. She misses the feeling too. It's not just you. She doesn't enjoy rejecting you, man. No woman actually does. She doesn't enjoy seeing the hurt in your eyes, the disappointment. She doesn't enjoy feeling broken or cold or inadequate because her body won't respond to her perfectly nice husband who tries so hard at everything. It's not about blame. This is just the reality of the situation. The final truth to face in the first part, getting her attraction back isn't about doing more of what's not working. Hear me out on that. It's about becoming a man she can't resist again. And that path isn't quick. It's not easy, and it starts with you actually, not her. You have to go all the way back into becoming who you used to be. It's working in reverse, undoing all these horrible things that you've been complacent with for years. Now, don't worry. I'm not saying this is all your fault. There are women that let themselves go and all that, but specifically we're targeting this one for the guys and how they let themselves go. And, one of these major ones is the comfort building behaviors that makes a stable marriage often attraction killing behaviors that turn that into a sexless one. That's the paradox that no one wants to talk about. The qualities of a good husband are not always the qualities of a good lover. Rewind that one back because a lot of guys really don't understand that. You went from that bad boy that was super attractive to her to that really nice, stable guy you thought you should become, but you no longer excite her. And this tension, it's not resolvable through the standard advice. The standard advice is designed to create more comfort, more security, more predictability. All attraction killers. Do more chores, talk more, share your feelings. That shit dries her up more and more. Ask any man that's been in any couple therapy that told them to do those exact things, and they all just lost out on thousands of dollars, and a divorce was on the way regardless. The path back to genuine desire isn't more flowers, more chores, more date nights. Those things don't hurt, but they don't solve the fundamental issue. You need to rebuild the polarity, the masculine-feminine dynamic that creates sexual tension, and the one that starts reclaiming your masculine core. Not some cartoonish like alpha male stereotype, but the grounded, purpose-driven man who she was originally attracted to. And here's your first step. Stop making her the center of your fucking universe. Is it harsh? Sure. Necessary? Absolutely. Your singular focus on her becomes suffocating. For both of you, rebuild your life outside the relationship. Reconnect with male friends, not drinking buddies, men who challenge you, men with their shit together, men pursuing goals and growth. Revive your old passions or find new ones if you lost them. Activities that have nothing to do with her or your relationship. Things that'll light you up, man. Things that you will pursue with genuine enthusiasm that you do even if she didn't exist. This isn't about ignoring her. It's about becoming interesting again. about having something to bring back to the relationship beyond your neediness and the expectations. Your second step, start leading again without asking for permission. And I'm not saying in a controlling way. I'm saying in a I've got this way. Make decisions confidently. Have opinions. Stop the constant deference. I'm taking you to dinner Friday. Wear the black dress I love. Not, do you maybe want to go out this Friday? Where do you want to go? Is this restaurant okay? What time works for you? Enough of that shit. Plan experiences she'd never think of. Take her places she wouldn't choose herself, but will enjoy because you're confidently leading the adventure. This extends beyond date nights. Have a vision for your life together. Stop just surviving day by day. And these aren't power plays either. They're demonstrations of confidence and care, of relieving her of the constant mental load of every single decision, of showing her that you can handle things without her guidance. Here's your third step. Fix your physical presence. Your body language betrays your inner state. The way you move, the way you stand, the tone of your voice, the eye contact you make or avoid, all of it radiates in your relationship the insecurities like it's a billboard. Start with posture, shoulders back, head up, take appropriate space, speak clearly, deliberately, without the questioning tone at the end of statements. Stop walking around your own house like you're applying for a permit to exist in it. You're not a teenage boy hiding a fucking vape pen from his mom. You're a grown man in his own domain. Touch her differently, not just when you want sex, not tentatively, deliberately, confidently, like you have the right to touch your wife. Quick, spontaneous, unpredictable. Then withdraw without the neediness. Create physical space too. The constant puppy dog proximity seeking isn't helping you. You're not a Roomba programmed to follow her around the fucking house, beeping sadly when she changes directions. Move around with purpose. Do your own thing. Let her wonder what you're up to sometimes. It's not a bad thing. It creates attraction. Fourth step, get your body back. There's no denying this one. You're not trying to look like a fitness model. You're just trying to feel alive in your skin again, to build confidence from the inside out, to have the energy that kind of passion will require. Strength training, non-negotiable. The impact on your hormones, your confidence, and your presence can't be replicated. 3 times a day a week minimum with progressive overload and compound movements. This isn't about vanity. It's about reclaiming your physical power. Then fix your fucking diet. Cut out the garbage, the alcohol, and the emotional eating. Fuel yourself like someone who respects his body and expects performance from it. Sleep, 7 hours, minimum, non-negotiable. Again, sleep deprivation makes you needy, irritable, unfocused, and weak. All of these are attraction killers. And the 5th step is rebuild your mental strength. Your thought patterns have become weak, validation seeking, and scarcity based. And there's fear in those eyes. Start a daily practice that builds mental resilience. Meditation, cold exposure, journaling, something that puts you in contact with your own discomfort and teaches you to move through it rather than avoid it. Read books that challenge you, that expand your thinking, that give you something interesting to bring to conversations beyond what's happening at work or with the kids. Develop the genuine curiosity about the world again, about ideas, people, especially about her, not as your emotional caretaker, but as a complex, separate human you're still discovering. Your 6th step is this. Stop the emotional diarrhea. Fuck sakes. Not all feelings need to be processed out loud. Not all insecurities need to be shared. Some things you need to handle within yourself or with other men, like I mentioned earlier. Your emotional processing isn't a Netflix special. Not everything needs to be released to an audience. Some episodes can remain private. When you do share vulnerable moments, do it from a place of strength. I'm struggling with this challenge and I wanted to share that with you. Hits very differently than, I'm so overwhelmed and scared, I need you to make me feel better. This doesn't mean becoming emotionally unavailable. It just means becoming emotionally self-sufficient. There's a massive difference, guys. And if you don't learn it, you're going to keep drying her up. Now, your 7th step, rebuild sexual confidence separate from her validation. That's key. Your entire sexual self-worth is based on whether she wants you. This is creating pressure for both of you. Her rejection feels like a total rejection of your masculinity, which makes you even less attractive next time. Reconnect with your sexuality as part of you that exists whether she's receptive or not. Know that you're a sexual man regardless of her response on any given day. Stop initiating from neediness. from seeking validation, hoping this time she'll want you so that you can feel worthy again. Initiate from a place of genuine desire and playfulness without attachment to the outcome. That is key. If she's not receptive, be completely okay. Do not become passive aggressive. Actually be okay. Your worth isn't on the line. If she rejects you, just laugh it off and walk away. Slap her ass next time. Maybe next time, baby. Pow. And walk off. Tell her a stupid joke. You weren't ready for this. It's hard to handle. I know. And walk away. The more you do this, the more she'll start wanting you because you have a bulletproof mentality. And when sex does happen, be present, be connected, but also be selfish enough to fully enjoy it without constantly monitoring her response to make sure you're doing it right. Jesus Christ. Don't be that guy. And the 8th step is this: build genuine abundance in your life, not other sexual options. I mean, abundance of validation sources like joy or purpose. When your entire emotional well-being depends on her desire for you, you become a black hole of need. No one can fill that hole from the outside. The paradox: when you need nothing from her emotionally, she'll likely want to give you everything. When your cup is already full, she can drink from it without feeling drained. I hope you really get that picture. Here's the 9th step. Hold space for her feelings without taking them personally. Her emotions are not your report card. Her bad day is not your failure. And her stress is not your emergency to fix. When she expresses negative emotions, don't get defensive. Try to solve everything immediately. Take it as a criticism of you. Match her emotional state or try to cheer her up inappropriately. Instead, be steady in presence that lets her move through her own emotional weather. Not as an emotional caretaker, just a solid partner, the rock, who isn't threatened by her temporary storms. You are immovable and unaffected. Final step for this section: develop unshakable frame. Frame is your reality, your emotional world. When your frame is weak, you get pulled into her reality, her emotional state, her perspective on everything, including her perspective on you. A strong frame doesn't mean being stubborn or never compromising. It means having a solid sense of who you are that doesn't constantly shift based on her fucking mood or reaction to you. When she tests this new version of you, and she will, you just hold steady. Don't apologize for becoming more confident, more purposeful, more self-sufficient. Those aren't things that require apology. The process of rebuilding attraction isn't about manipulating her either. It's about becoming a man who naturally creates the attraction by embodying attractive qualities. The man she fell for originally, but stronger, more mature, more grounded. That's it. When you start implementing these changes, expect the resistance, not just from her, but from yourself. Your old patterns will fight to survive. The validation-seeking behaviors, the covert contracts, the passive aggressiveness response to rejection, they're deeply ingrained, dude, comfortable in their dysfunction. And she'll test your new frame relentlessly, not consciously, instinctively. Her subconscious needs to know, is this real? Is this change really real? Or just another temporary tactic for sex? A lot of men fall into that. The ulterior motives are easy to spot. You only act like a good boy because you want the reward in between her legs. It's pathetic and it dries her up. Now, to go on and address the common pitfalls men encounter during this process, it probably is like this. The first one is the transformational rampage. Dude, be very careful. You read a few books on attraction, you join some online men's groups, you start hitting the gym, and suddenly you're a completely different person overnight. You start acting like a caricature of the masculinity, barking orders, being intentionally distant, refusing to communicate, basically acting like an asshole and calling it alpha. You go from Mr. Rogers to Conor McGregor overnight, and you expect everyone to just roll with your new identity like you're not having the world's most predictable midlife crisis. It's fucking pathetic. Check yourself. This isn't authentic change. It's just a reaction, a pendulum swing from one dysfunction, an extreme, to another. And she's going to see right through that shit. She knows you better than you know yourself sometimes. And real transformation is consistent, but gradual. It's evolutionary, not revolutionary. It builds on your genuine strengths rather than trying to become someone else entirely. Your second pitfall is probably this: expecting the immediate results. You've been showing up as needy, approval-seeking version of yourself for years, maybe decades, and you expect her to be dripping with desire after 2 weeks of new behaviors? Attraction erosion happens slowly, and rebuilding it takes time. Her subconscious needs consistent evidence that this change is real before her body will respond. This process typically follows this timeline. First, she'll notice something different and might not like it. She'll probably push back, she'll test your resolve, and try to get the old, predictable you back. Next, she'll get curious, and she'll start paying more attention. She'll test you in different ways, watching to see if the changes stick when things get tough. Then, she'll begin responding differently. More eye contact, more physical proximity, more engagement, more interest in your opinions and experiences. These aren't explicitly sexual responses yet, but they're the foundation. Finally, genuine desire reemerges, not on your timeline, on hers, and not through force of will, through genuine neurochemical responses that she can't fake and can't control. This process might take months. Stay on course. Here's your third pitfall, the negotiation trap. Avoid it at all costs. After a few weeks of working on yourself, you start to see these small improvements in her responsiveness. Immediately, you're going to try to leverage this in a conversation about our sex life or her attraction or the relationship. You are back to negotiating desire, back to processing feelings again, back to making sex a complex, brain-centered, anxiety-producing topic rather than a natural, embodied experience. Nothing says, "Take me now," like a man who wants to schedule a performance review of his latest bedroom efforts. Nothing drives up desire faster than treating sex like a customer satisfaction survey. Give it a fucking rest. Attraction isn't created through discussion. It's created through experience, through feeling, through the dance of masculine and feminine energies in action, not in analysis. Can we break down why sex was so much better this past week and how we should have more every month? What else can I do? What performance metrics should I be hitting? Shut the fuck up. Stop. The more you talk about it, the more pressure you create, the more awkward and performative it becomes. Fourth pitfall, the covert contract. We're married. You should be having sex with me. I demand. Shut the fuck up. Again, you're making all these changes with unspoken expectations. If I do this, she should want sex. Every action becomes a deposit you expect to withdraw later in the bedroom. Then when the attraction doesn't materialize on your schedule, you're going to feel cheated, bitter, and resentful. I've done everything right. Why doesn't she want me yet? Calm down, bro. She senses this transactional energy. The expectation, the calculation, all of that shit will kill the genuine desire you want. Women can smell the covert contract from a mile away. It's like Axe body spray, dude, for repelling attraction. I bought dinner. Now dispense one sex, please. It's like a fucking vending machine approach to intimacy. It's horrible. Make these changes for you because they make you a stronger, more fulfilled man, regardless of her response. The authentic self, all the self-improvement without the expectation of sexual payment is ironically far more attractive than change performed as a sexual transaction. Your fifth pitfall, mistaking her test for rejection. When you start showing up differently, she'll test the authenticity and stability of these changes, sometimes directly, sometimes through unconscious behaviors that seem like rejection. She might get angry at your new independence. She might escalate emotional situations to see if you're going to still lose your center. She might create chaos when you're being particularly solid. These aren't signs of failure. They're signs that your changes are significant enough to register on the scale, to threaten the old dynamic. Her system is checking, is this real? Can I trust it? Will he collapse back into the neediness under pressure? Pass these tests through consistent, non-reactive strength, not through domination or anger, through immovable self-possession, and you will see the fruits of your labor very shortly after. Your sixth pitfall is ignoring her actual needs while focusing on attraction. Because building attraction doesn't mean becoming a selfish asshole. It doesn't mean ignoring her legitimate needs for connection, communication, and partnership. The goal isn't to replace a needy husband with an unavailable one. It's to become a strong, grounded man who can provide both polarity and partnership, security and the excitement, stability and the uncertainty, the comfort and the desire. Balance that attraction by building behaviors with genuine attentiveness. Just make sure that attentiveness comes from abundance, not from scarcity, from actual desire to enhance her life, not fear of losing her approval. So how do you know if it's working? What signs indicate genuine attraction rather than like momentary engagement? First, watch for proximity seeking. She finds reasons to be physically near you. touches you casually, and stays in your presence longer than necessary for practical purposes. Second, increased curiosity about you. She asks about your day, your thoughts, your experiences, and actually listens to the answers. She follows up on things that you've mentioned before. Third, she becomes more invested in her own appearance around you. More effort in how she presents herself and more attention to the things she knows you appreciate visually. Fourth, playfulness. It returns with the teasing, the inside jokes, lighthearted, charged interactions that characterize your early relationship. And I know you miss those moments. The fifth one is she starts initiating, and not just sex, but interactions generally. She seeks your opinion, your presence, and your attention. Another one is she becomes more receptive to your touch, leaning into it rather than tolerating it. That tension in her body changes completely. And the final truth about rebuilding attraction, it's as much about your own transformation as it is about her response to it. Many men who successfully walk this path discover something unexpected. They've become men who no longer need their wives' validation to feel complete. Men whose sense of self is internally generated rather than externally validated. And from this place of authentic strength, they can truly love their wives as companions rather than emotional caretakers. They can desire them without needing them. They can offer genuine strength rather than seeking constant reassurance. This journey isn't about manipulating your wife into wanting you. It's about becoming a man who naturally generates the attraction because he's living congruently with his nature and purpose. That's the key. And the paradox, when you no longer need her attraction to feel whole, that's precisely when she's most likely to feel it again. Weird, huh? Your choice remains this. Continue down the path of seeking approval, of negotiating desire, of slowly eroding whatever attraction remains, or rebuild yourself into the man who confidently offers value without expectation, who lives with purpose beyond the relationship, who creates rather than pursues attraction. One path leads to increasing frustration and inevitable disappointment. The other offers no guarantees. She has her own free will, but provides the only legitimate chance at rekindling genuine desire, while also transforming you into a man who can thrive regardless of the outcome. The comfortable path, it's not an option anymore. It's already failed. It's time to choose the uncomfortable truth over the comforting lie, for both your sakes. I hope some guys found some deep value in this episode. I know it's a topic that a lot of guys are dealing with or have dealt with in the past, ended up in divorce, or, maybe there's some marriages that we could still save with this message, hopefully. If you like episodes like this, feel free to subscribe, leave a comment down below of your experiences with this kind of thing. If you've been through a rebuilding process, or if you're, thinking of initiating one, or maybe it was too late for you, share your story. They're always interesting to read and can help us out. Also appreciate everybody that's been joining us on the private community, hanging out with me on the calls. It's been a blast speaking to everybody, as well as all those doing the private consults. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. As usual, boys, we'll see you on the next one. Take care.